Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Bianca, who was struggling while waiting tables and trying to figure out what to do with her life. And she found my course. And she lives in the UK. She studied very hard, hustled very hard, and got a hybrid job as a digital marketer that she's very happy with. And it's completely transformed her career, and she's only 20 years old. So I'm very excited to share her story with you. Thanks for being here, Bianca.
Thanks for having me, Seth. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. It's my pleasure. So why don't you tell people a little about your current job that you have right now?
Yeah, so my current job, I only started a month ago and I really, really love it. I've been basically dealing with a lot of charities. I've been working with the charities and I've been helping them to promote their causes, which it really makes me feel so much better because I'm contributing to the world too. But yeah, I just started 1 month ago and I'm getting a lot of training. I'm getting a lot of knowledge. The team is small, so I'm also learning how to basically run an agency too, because it's a little bit of different roles that everybody needs to think about, which I really like personally.
That's awesome. And you said you're working on the PPC side of things, right? You're doing Google Ads. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, I'm doing PPC at the moment. And also, I've been doing a bit of, that was a bit of a blooper. I've been doing a bit of Facebook ads as well as LinkedIn and Microsoft too.
Wow, that's great. It sounds like you're learning a lot as well as managing actual ad accounts, which is again incredible, especially since you're only 20, and and that's really fantastic. So most of my students that I interview are based in the U.S., but recently I've had a lot of people in the UK get hired, and I'm actually interviewing someone else tomorrow. So I know this will be of interest to people overseas because people need to understand this is a global job opportunity, skill set. Why don't you tell people a little bit about, what was going on in your life when you found the course and, how you got from wherever you were to where you are now?
Yeah, so basically my whole journey started in March this year. So basically, how long ago is that? It's like 7 months ago. I was running my nutrition business and also I was doing restaurant work on the side just so I can get some sort of income in and make sure that my bills were getting paid. Um, but it was just getting too much. It was every day, 6 a.m. until 8, 9, 10 p.m., depending on the day. And it was just too much. So I wanted kind of an escape from that, as weird as this sounds, from my own business. I wanted to escape from that. And also, of course, from waiting tables. So I don't know how necessarily, but I stumbled across one of your interviews. I don't think you were doing the interview. I think you were being interviewed and you were talking about your course. I don't remember who was interviewing you though. But yeah, I just looked through your channel. I saw some of your testimonials. I jumped on the discovery call with you and I was thinking, oh, I should actually get into this. It's pretty close to running a business because you contribute to the revenue of a business or a charity, whatever you're promoting, basically. And you're also earning well, and you can earn from wherever you want. You can work remotely, which I really, really loved. Because of my nutrition club, I was bound to a little city that I love, but I don't want to be in forever. So that's how it started in March this year.
That's great. And what city do you live in?
I live in Nottingham, so it's basically in the middle of the UK, in the middle of England.
Got
Uh,
it. And where are you from originally?
yes, I'm originally from Romania. I moved here with my parents when I was 12, so I knew no English, nothing at all. And I just moved here and yeah, never looked back. That was nearly 9 years ago.
Wow. I just thought I know I'm sure people would wonder because again you're in the UK, but you don't have a British accent, so people would like might wonder what your background is. But your English is
Oh
very
yeah.
good for having learned it when you were 12. Um, and
Thanks.
I'm just curious. You said, but I don't do discovery calls. Do you mean you watch the webinar?
Uh, yeah, it was the webinar. Sorry, I forgot what it was called initially.
Right, right.
But basically, you're just explaining what the course is, what the ins and outs, what we'll be studying, and what the options are, and why choose digital marketing overall. Yeah, sorry if I butchered the
No, no,
name. I
it's no
didn't
problem.
remember.
I
It
just
was
wanted
a
to make
long
sure.
time ago.
All good. In fact, I mean, it's great the progress you've made in just a few months. Honestly, it's a huge shift. And I just wanted to clarify for people. Some people, I say, it's a very low cost program and there's group coaching, but I don't do any, that's how I keep it so affordable is because I really don't, I'm able to manage more people through email and, Facebook groups. Um, but why don't you tell me, so what happened when you decided to buy the course? Like how, you had this online course, you didn't have any previous digital marketing experience, what happened?
Yeah, so basically, once I decided that I wanted the course, first of all, I chose the pay monthly option because I was kind of not broke, but I was limited on budget to say the least. So I chose that option. I was like, I will try it for 30 days. If I don't like it, there is the money back guarantee anyway. So I can always do that. But of course, that didn't happen. Uh, so once I bought the course, I just started learning as much as I could. I went for the course once. I didn't do anything. I just listened to every single video that you made. And then the second time around, I went and I made notes and I also actioned every single thing that I needed to do, like the worksheets and the clients that we needed to get in order to get experience. So yeah, I was doing all of that while I was running my business. I was literally doing it while I was waiting between my clients to come or in the morning when it was quieter or something like that. So every single chance that I had, I just did a course. I didn't even have a laptop. So I just took my mom's laptop. I was like, can I borrow it for a few months? I really need it. I don't want to buy a new one. So yeah, she was really nice and got me one. Well, borrowed me hers. So yeah, that's how it is going. Should I talk a bit more about what happened after and the
Yeah,
progression of it?
definitely. No,
Yeah.
people always want to know. It's very, I think a lot of people can identify with, either, needing to do the payment plan and of course, not having that much time because you did have to support yourself. I know the UK, I imagine Nottingham is not as expensive as London, but it's still pretty expensive. So you had to work a lot. But it's cool you were able to, manage to, balance everything where you were still able to do the course. And, get to where you are right now. So you did all the, you studied everything, you watched the course, you did, the assignments, and then how did that, begin to lead you towards either clients or to this job that you have now?
So what the first impact that I saw from the course was on the mindset part. I was really set on like making it work because I really wanted to, like I said, just run away from all the chaotic life that I created and have like a nice, stable job, a good career, and a, potentially in the future a business in this too. But yeah, I was really at a low moment. So the mindset stuff that you put up and asked us to just keep going back to really helped me. And I say that because uh, as woo as this what I'm about to say sounds, I feel like I manifested my first client and my first contractor role that I'll come to in a bit. So I was 1 month and a little bit into doing the course. I already knew that I wanted to carry on with it. So I was just going through the motion, doing all the lessons and of course working at the same time. And I remember this one day I was working at the restaurant, and there was this girl that comes in by herself, and I just sit her at the table. I take her order, and after I take her order, she just asked me, "Oh, do you think the restaurant will need a little bit of marketing help? Because I work at this marketing agency not too far from here, and I just wanted to know if you guys would need some help." And I was like, "Oh, what part of marketing do you work in?" And she's like, "Oh, in SEO, like, working on website." And I was like, "Oh, I know a little bit of SEO because I've done the course and I've gone through all the videos." So we started just chatting about marketing, and I was telling her, "Oh yeah, I want to change my career from what I was doing there to a job in marketing." So she said that her boss was actually looking to hire someone. And I was like, "Oh, give me his email because I really want a job there." So she gave me his email. I contacted him. I put together a quick um, a quick CV for him. I sent it, and we had an interview, and then another one. And I got hired there as a contractor, basically, because they were focused in SEO. I basically came and filled in the PPC work for them. It was more, like I said, a contractor role. So whatever work came in from some of their clients, I would just pick it up and do it. It was mainly in Microsoft to start off with, which I thought it was horrendous because I like the Google Ads more anyway. But more Google Ads projects came in, and I started earning more. And with that experience that I've got from there, and also some of the clients that I picked up, I'll get to that in a second too, I managed to just up my CV skills. And 1 month I just applied to, like, I don't know, 50 jobs every day. I would just be looking on LinkedIn, I'd be looking on Indeed, I'd be contacting every single agency that I'd see that has a PPC role. And yeah, just apply and apply and apply. And I ended up getting this job that I'm at. And I didn't expect to take it on because I thought it was a bit too much for me. I thought I wasn't qualified enough, but I was just going through the interviews and they just liked me and offered me the position. And that was 2 or 3 months ago. They offered me the position and I got it.
That's amazing. That's all really amazing. Let me just kind of unpack some of that for people because I think that's, first of all, I'm a woo-woo guy myself, and I try to get you guys to understand that, yeah, there's a lot of like ungrounded people that, I've seen videos where people say, "Oh, just put cinnamon in your house and you'll make money." And I'm like, well, that's delusional. But if you have a strong intention and skill sets like you do, stuff does happen like that. That happened to me. It happened to my other students. If you're just thinking about it a lot, you will just randomly likely meet somebody like that woman. That's really amazing. And plus, she started the conversation about the marketing, and then you just have this natural, this is what I teach in the course, right? Have a natural conversation about marketing, get nerd out about it, and stuff happens. And that's amazing. And then you take that's limited experience and then leverage that into this job. And I also think it's great. Like most people, when you're taking the course, you don't think you're qualified because you just learned this stuff. But I've been saying this for years, and it's still true. These agencies need people. Especially, is this agency actually based in Nottingham?
So it's not based in Nottingham. It's based in Leicester, which is a 20-minute train from where I live. So it's not that far, and I don't need to go in every single day, which is good. Yeah, it's
Yeah, you
based
said
just a
you're.
little bit.
Yeah, so again, it's these smaller towns. So like in London, I actually met up with like 5 students in London. So there's tons of agencies there. But I'm saying if you're in a smaller town like that, they're even more in need of qualified people. I love when you say Nottingham, it's because I just keep thinking of Robin Hood, the the sheriff of Nottingham. Um, But that's awesome. So like tell us, how did the interview go? Like, did they ask you about your degree or your previous experience? Like how did everything go in the interview?
So with the interview, the job that I'm currently at, the first part of the interview was a little task. So before they even wanted to talk to me, they said, "Oh, just do this task," which is basically looking at some of the stats from an account. They were in Studio Looker or something like that. I didn't know what that was at the time. But yeah, they just showed us some stats and they said, "Oh, describe this as if you were to talk to the customer. What would you tell them? What went good? What can be improved and this kind of stuff." So I just used everything that I learned from the course and I just described the stats that they've given me. And they were really, really impressed with the stuff that I told them, what can be improved or what how I would necessarily describe the stuff itself. So they asked me to come to the second round of interview, which is basically like a 10-15 minute call. And they just asked me about my experience, why I want to get into digital marketing, why I want to work with them, and they also explained the role in more details. And I had a chance to also ask more questions. And that was the first round of interview. That was the second stage, but the first round of interviews. And after that, it was the second round of interviews, which is a face-to-face interview. And once again, they just try to get more granular about my knowledge and about my experience, which I just use every single thing that I could tell them from my previous experience in my contractor job. So yeah, they were really impressed with that too. And I was, yeah, fortunate enough to get the job.
That's so that's so great. This is how it happens. This is how it happens. And yeah, and even, that happens with a lot of jobs. They gave you some data to analyze. They wanted your feedback, and guys, if you're in the course or you're considering it, there's no right answer to those questions. It's more of an interpretation. They want to they want to see how you interpret data, how you think. And obviously your answer showed the basics. You owned your experience. You didn't have to say I managed $1 million or anything. You just told them about your basic experience and that impressed them. And then they hired you. So how did it feel when you got hired?
I felt over the moon because I was working so hard and just scraping like month by month, working at my restaurant job, and I was also contracting too. But again, it wasn't a full-time position to give me a full-time income, so that's why I say that I was scraping month by month. And yeah, it just felt incredible because it just gave me so much opportunity, and it was the first time in a very, very long time that I was actually excited about the job that I was going to do. It wasn't just a job, it was a career that I really want to learn more in and like get better at, not just earn money and that's it. Trade my time for money.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. You have no idea where you'll be in 5 years with this career. And it'll be a good thing. Um,
Yeah.
and what did your family think?
Well, they still don't understand what I do. I try to explain to them, and I've been explaining to them for the past 8 months. But my mom was literally asked me the other week, "So can you explain to me what you actually do?" So yeah, they don't really understand what I do, but they support me on it. So they're really happy that I started working in digital marketing and earning well and actually building a life for myself and a career. And um, I didn't go to uni, which really disappointed them. And they're still asking me to go to uni, but there is no point because for this career at least, I just saved 4 years of my life. I just went straight onto the get a good job part.
That's so great. And it's true, guys. I mean, even, things are a little different in the UK, but it's not, I don't think it's quite as expensive as in the US, but you don't need a degree from a university to do this job, and you're clearly proof of that. Um, yeah, and that's how it always is, My parents still don't understand what this field is. They just know that, it's a good job, and that's all they really care about. And
Yeah.
that's really awesome. And you were saying, so it's a hybrid job, so you're in the office twice a week, but the rest of the time you're remote. Your salary is, I think you said, what was it?
It's 27.5K initially, but after probation it can go up to 30. And also it includes two bonuses depending on, of course, the performance of the agency overall.
Absolutely. And it's your first job. And like I always try to tell people, in the UK, the salaries tend to be just a little bit lower in the US, but you have, I think, 4 to 6 weeks of mandatory holiday every year, right?
Yes, yeah. It's 32 days for me at the moment. Some other places get 25 or 33, depending. I've seen even 40 days advertised, depending on the agency. That's what they would offer you. But yeah, it's a lot of days. It's a lot of days.
Yeah. And I mean, the good thing about in the US, if you're watching this, I think compared to other job fields, digital marketing has one of the best work-life balances you'll find. There's usually tons of paid time off. But one thing I've noticed is just culturally, Americans just don't take vacations as much as Europeans. I know this because I travel all throughout the world, and I'd meet people from Germany or France or the UK, and I'd say, like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, we're on our holiday, for 4 weeks. And I was like, wow, that sounds so cool. But that, of course, obviously that affects the salaries. I always thought it's great for work-life balance, that you're actually expected to take this time off. And of course you have, other things like health insurance and things like that. But you also mentioned that you have some freelance clients too. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So I started off when I started the course, it was in March. I think I've got my first client around May time, my first freelance client. And they weren't a paying client, and they're still not a paying client because they're a small business and I'm just helping them out at the moment. Um, but that was the first time that I've got my first proper client, and it was from a Facebook post that I put on a Facebook group in my local community. And a lot of people responded, a lot of people hated on the post for some reason, and a lot of them wanted my services and reached out to me. And the initial post was not for PPC, it was for SEO audits, because I thought that I'd like SEO more, which I personally don't like it as much as I like PPC at the moment. But yeah, that was the first service that I offer, SEO audits. And I've done the audits. I met up with my first client in person to show them the audit and how they can improve their website and everything. And because they were really impressed with the work that I've done, they said that they're also doing Google Ads and that they are currently managing them, but they're not really going great. So I was like, oh, I can manage them if you'd like. It won't cost a thing. I'll just do them because it will help you and it will also help me gain some experience. So it was a win-win on both ends. And all they needed to provide was the budget for the Google Ads. So that's basically how I got my first client.
And that's what I teach you guys to do. And that's experience. You're going to get more. You had more experience from that one client than people studying marketing in university get in 4 years. And as your confidence grows in your current job, you're going to start getting paid clients if you want them. I thought you'd mentioned, did you have another client that was paying, or was it just the client that you worked on for free?
I just had that client that I was working for free. Um, but I started getting more paid clients around July, August, because I started advertising myself more, and I also started looking at more contractor roles on LinkedIn and picking up some more jobs, some more clients on there. And I've actually been approached a few times by people to do their Facebook ads or do their Google ads. So yeah, sometimes people just come to you, which is crazy, knowing that you've been freelancing for just a few months. It's crazy how in demand you can be.
Absolutely. So you do have some paying clients on top of your salary job now, you're saying? Yes. Okay. That's what I
Yes, yes, yes.
that's what I wanted to just kind of illustrate for people, is that you have this ability with this field to have your salary plus as many of these freelance clients as you want to, level up your income. But I'm glad you shared this story of your first client, because that's the attitude, from my students. I teach you guys that when you're starting out, don't worry about billing anybody. Just get that experience, because it's so valuable. And then eventually, if you work with them and you're getting them results, you can have that conversation about billing them. And of course, if you've got like 5 clients, don't work for all of them for free. But it sounds like you very, oh, hold on one second. I'm shooting this interview outside, and the motorbikes. I'm back in Asia, and I just remember when I was in Europe, I remember it was so, there just aren't as many of these motorbikes, scooters driving around. And
Mm.
when you're in Asia, they're all over. So,
Ah, I see. I've never been, but I bet it's a big thing there because everybody just scooters around or
oh,
takes the
it's,
little
I mean,
moped or
they're everywhere. They're everywhere, and they're a lot of fun to drive, I think, actually. But when we went to Europe, we actually in Hungary. I was saying we're kind of near Romania, where you're from. I noticed, I was like, wow, I don't hear any scooters. It's just cars. So it was much quieter. Um, but anyway, guys, yeah, the freelance thing, yeah, that you just have a lot of options. That's kind of what we're illustrating here. And, I'm really happy for you. I'm proud of you. I think you've done an amazing job. You're way ahead of where I was when I was 20. I'll tell you that. I didn't get my first digital marketing job till I was 32. So,
oh
um,
wow.
yeah, yeah, although when I was 20, I think it was the 90s. So the internet really wasn't a thing yet. So you guys, there's still just so many, opportunities still available, as the field is still growing. Um, and yeah, guys, it's a global thing. So I think it's really cool, that you wanted to share your story, being from the UK. I know that I get a lot of questions from people from the UK, so I really appreciate you sharing. Um, and I'm excited to see where you go from here. Um, so is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap this up, to me or anybody watching the interview?
Yes, so one thing that I want to tell the people that are doing the course or want to do the course is to just do everything that Seth tells you to do. Because if you follow everything step by step and don't skip anything, you'll just inevitably succeed in it. Because I've seen a lot of people, well, not a lot, a few people in the community asking me, oh, how I've done this, how I've done that, like the website, how I've built my website, how I've done this. And I'm like, it's in the course. I just used everything that they've given us, all the templates in the course, and I just utilize them to my advantage. Of course, I put a bit of work into them too, but yeah, I just used every single piece of material you gave me. I've used the community, so use the community because it basically saves your life when you don't know what to do and you're like, oh, everything on the internet doesn't make sense. You just put a question there and someone would have gone through it before you. So yeah, but yeah, that's it. That's what I want to say to the guys who want to do the course or who are doing the course and feel like they're not getting results. Just follow everything, and that's it.
I appreciate that, and that is my advice. 99% of the time, I tell people, like, people will post, yeah, and I think it's just human nature to say, like, well, what do I do? And like you just have to follow the instructions. It's all there, and I usually just do what you said, just redirect people back. And sometimes people, you know, they'll show me their resume and I'll be like, did you follow the instructions in the resume section? And they'll be like, no. And I'll say, well, you need to follow the instructions to do it. And then like you can see it works. But yeah, and I'm happy that you got that support in the community. I'm really proud of the community. It's kind of its own, its own has its own life at this point.
Amazing.
Um,
Yeah,
so so yeah, and and thank you. I know alumni like you then come back and contribute and inspire people to keep going. And yeah, I just think you've done a great job. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your story with the people here. Is it okay if I post your LinkedIn profile below the interview if people have questions or want to reach out to you?
yes, of course. I'm just a little bit bad at replying at the moment because I have lots of things going on, but I'll do my best.
We appreciate that. And guys, yeah, that's the case. A lot of my students are so open and willing to answer, but everybody's very busy. They're working very hard. So if you don't get a response, don't expect an instant response. Try to be patient. And we all appreciate you making yourself available and yeah, and sharing your story. So yeah, it was great chatting with you, and let's stay in
Same.
touch. I'm really, excited. We'll probably do another one of these interviews, in the future, and I'm sure you'll have been promoted or grown at that point. Um, yeah, and thank you. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, as we say.
Yes, thank you so much. And it's a privilege to actually talk to you, like live, not just through the screen. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting me on this interview, and I hope I could help someone get into their digital marketing career and just, level up their life, just like I did.
You have these interviews make a big difference, and you did a great job expressing yourself. So we all appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Yes.